Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Autastic, your comedian's guide to autism. I'm one of your hosts. My name is Kirk Smith, and my co-host and buddy
Graham K. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Another
Woo!
week. Kirk again is at sea. I am in New York City. How is JJ, Kirk? How you doing? How's he
Good. We had
doing?
a call a few short minutes ago, and he was very interested in having his aide tickle him, and much less interested in having a conversation with Dad. But
Classic JJ.
Well, classic JJ move. But we did it, and I think he's good. You know, the job thing has been a frustration. Still, no movement on that. We still,
Great.
are hoping this is the week. But I got to follow up on that. I will do that after this podcast.
Okay.
What
Good
else is going on
reminder.
my week in review?
Good reminder.
His birthday's coming up, so making my plans. It's just gonna be me and old little Choochie face at his birthday. I was hoping we might get a few. My parents might have some drop-in guests, but it did not work out this year. The finances are a little tight, so
Right.
maybe next year they'll be
Yep.
able to make it out.
Oh, that's too
And,
bad. That's too bad. I knew you were excited about that.
Yeah, it's a in their defense, it is a trek. It is a long journey to
Oh
get
my
to
God,
Sweden from. Yeah,
It's that is like one of those Indiana Jones maps when he travels. He
Yeah,
goes on
really.
a plane and a boat and a little red line over the map. It's
Yeah.
like
And it moves like a little jaggedy, like it's traveling by
Yeah,
donkey. Yeah,
'cause you
it's a
have to.
long,
you have to.
long journey.
Yeah, from
I was thinking about that.
from where?
My friend was like, "What do you do for your vacations?" Sorry, I can't cut you off. My friend was like, "What do you do for vacations?" Like, mostly I take care of an adult man with autism.
Yeah.
That's how I spend 4 weeks a year. It's
Pretty
very
sweet.
very glamorous.
Very sweet.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he's doing good. So I've got that coming up. I'm excited about that. How's good old Peter Parker Spider-Man?
Peter Parker's great. He's doing great. You know what? You know what I'm thinking? You know what I'm thinking, Kirk? I'm thinking we should get
Let
him
me
on
have
the,
it.
get him on the horn. Get old Pete
man.
on the phone. We have not
Call up good old Peter.
done
We
it.
haven't had a Pete update in a while in the old pod.
We have not. We have not.
Be good to hear from.
Now let me figure out. Uh-oh.
Now the question is, can the world's oldest millennial, Graham K., figure out how to use his phone?
Yes, I just figured it out, Kirk. God. You're starting to piss me off. All right. Okay, we're adding Peter.
Da-na-na-na, da-na-na.
All right.
Hello.
Are we both on the phone?
Yes. Hey, we got the K brothers.
That's right. The K-Boys back in action. Pete, how are you doing, buddy?
Well, I am Peter K, a.k.a. Peter Parker, Spider-Man.
I like it.
You sure are, bud. You sure are.
Now, if you had to be one of the characters, who would you be, Bert or Ernie? Who are you, Peter?
Ernie.
And
Why is that? Why do you like Ernie better?
Well, I guess he was a bit younger than Bert, and I guess Bert was older.
yeah.
I like it.
You think so? Did they say the ages?
Well, maybe they almost look like as... Well, I think Ernie almost looked like as younger than Bert.
Yeah. And also Bert is taller.
Definitely
I'd
taller.
say so.
And it has less hair, so it works out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ouch. Yep. Well, Peter, I wanted to ask you, we do a thing on our show called Weekly Update. So I'm wondering if you could update us on how your new job is going. Are you in? Because Kirk's son is looking for a job, and
Yeah.
you have a job. And are you happy you have your job? Do you like your job?
Yes, I think it's better for me than the St. Anthony's Banquet Hall. I don't want to go back there because too many days of work got missed when the COVID-19 virus first came 3 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you like this job more than the old one? Do you like the
I'd say so.
Cool. And what do you do at your
And
job?
luckily, well, I just set tables that are outside and inside, and I also clean for a while, and I also Windex windows, and I also work from 9 till 11:30 a.m. on the days that go from Tuesday till another Thursday morning comes.
Great. And do you like the people you work with?
Yeah, they're great, and everybody thinks I've been able to have my chit chats diminish a lot, and nobody has ever seen or heard me chit chat too much.
Yeah, like in when you worked at the pylon office and you were chit-chatting a bit too
Yeah,
much. Um, but
yeah,
but you people, it's good. Everyone makes mistakes, and you learned from your mistakes, didn't you? You're chit-chatting less, right?
I know, but the pylon probably wasn't a good fit for me.
Yeah, that's okay. I've had lots and lots of jobs that were not good fits for me. That's for sure. I've had some comedy
Were you chit
jobs.
chatting too much at work or not really?
Was I chit-chatting too much at work? Actually, I was chit-chatting too much at work at a couple of them. That is 100% true. I was a waiter once, and I chit-chatted too much at work. And also, when I worked in an office, my only office job, I was definitely chit-chatting way too much and
Oh no.
not doing my job as good as I could do it. Yeah. So, and then yeah, I don't work there anymore. But now I
I
found a
see.
job. I found a job where my job is to chit chat. So you know, um,
Okay.
are the people you work with? Are they nice? Do they help you?
Well, they seem very nice. We make good conversation once in a while. Sometimes we have little bits of disagreements, but that's okay.
What do you disagree about?
Well, I think somebody from work was thinking if the teachers couldn't become very well aware of the school bullies, but that is incorrect. Teachers do need to become more aware of the school bullies, and school boards can do much better by giving awarenesses in advance.
Yes, I think that's a. I agree with you, Pete, on that one.
And another thing, school boards don't let teachers point in the face anymore because that's rude and they can get fired.
Yeah, and you
And te- and
go ahead.
and school boards have to make sure teachers don't run rules in a negative way, or else students won't like learning anything unless the rules didn't get run into a negative way.
So you do you still think a lot about school?
Maybe just less, but not as much as I used to when I was 22 and then 23.
You thought about it a lot back then. Yeah,
I'd say so, and it was hard to be happy at Algonquin College,
yeah.
especially if there was a teacher from Algonquin who turned into a jerk for wanting to have me help out with laundry. But if one of them was just joking, I don't care. That was too selfish.
Yeah, you don't really like jokes.
Jokes can be more hurtful than rude, especially if somebody hit you on the shoulder and then said hi-ya. That could be very hurtful.
Well, that's not a joke. That's someone hitting you.
Well, if somebody was joking like that, that wouldn't be very acceptable.
No, that's not a joke. That's someone hitting you, going hi yeah, like a karate chop. Did that happen to you in school?
I think some guy, Mark Projet, once did it to me in school, and that totally upset me.
Okay. Did he get in
But
trouble?
if he didn't like, well, if he didn't like being told he was so bad, well, a teacher shouldn't have told me to sit out in the hallway. Back then, should have been more Mark's fault than mine.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think you need to stop worrying about school. It was a long time ago now. It's almost 20 years ago.
I know, but just because guys or girls were negative doesn't mean they can't change into well mature people.
Well, you can change into a mature person who doesn't think about high school. What do you think, Kirk?
Well, I think if you remember his specific name, then it probably happened.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't think that's a unique thing to just you, Peter. I think a lot of us had complicated childhoods, but I think there's good times ahead for you, man. I think I'm excited about your job.
Mm-hmm.
You have your own place now. You can do your own laundry. You've got your own collection of action figures
Yep.
and movies.
Yes,
And
but I know I don't take them into work. I know I can't.
smart guy. That's exactly right. That's
Yeah.
not for work. That's stuff for home. Yeah.
So I
that's
think
right.
I think what Kirk is saying, Pete, is you don't have to focus on the past so much in high school because present right now is your life's really good and much better. And you have a lot of nice things to think about. You can talk about.
And Peter,
but
you're never going back
just
to
want
high
your-
school.
But I want yourselves to understand, just because guys or girls were negative doesn't mean they can't change.
That's right.
That's
They can
true.
change. but you don't have to focus on it anymore. Is the
I
point.
know, but it's not easy to stay off for once in a while.
Okay. Well, do you have anything you want to say to listeners before we go?
Well, I'm doing much better. I don't think I live in the past as much as I used to when I was in a couple of my own age 20s. I think I've matured a lot since then.
I think you have too.
I do have a question for you, Peter. Changing the subject completely. You know, Grandma's doing these shows where you call in. You enjoying that? Where he calls you? Do you get to be part of the show?
Yeah, that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how does it work? He tells you a time, and then you call at the exact time, huh?
Uh-huh.
And what do you think of me doing a show where I talk about you?
It's nice, but but make sure you don't tell people about when I used to live in the past a lot. I don't do that as much. I've matured a lot since then, but you can say that.
No, I won't say that. I won't talk about anything you don't want me to talk about. I won't talk about that. I talk mostly about mom and dad and me. And yeah, I don't really say anything too personal about you. I don't think.
Well, good, but if you brought me up, that's okay. But don't say personal stuff about myself.
I won't. I won't. I won't.
And look, I know mom and dad are not bad parents, but it's just that they can't have me help out with the dog very much anymore because that is no longer my kind of helping out to go into.
That's right. Just so you know, I've told you this before, Peter, but when I talk about you in the show, I say that I just talk about how cool you are, and people like you.
That's good.
Yeah. When you call in, they get really happy, right?
That's good.
Yeah.
But look, maybe girls from a long time ago might have used to think I was annoying, but maybe they changed and they probably understand I can be more nice than annoying.
Oh yeah, yeah. Girls like you, Pete.
Yeah, but many girls didn't when we were kids, but that doesn't matter. Maybe they just had their own opinions back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think Kirk, do you have anything else?
Nope, that's it, man. Good to hear from you, Peter. I'm glad you're doing good, man. I'll have to see you when I go back up to Canada next year.
And also, maybe girls wouldn't say negative things to me as much as they used to. They can be more nice than negative.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same. I feel like girls can be more nice than negative to me too, Peter. I understand. I get it.
And maybe girls wouldn't say shut up as much as they used to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's hard to hear too.
All right, Pete.
I agree.
Can you hang up?
Okay. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye, Pete.
Bye, bud. Good to see you. Good to talk to you.
Bye-bye.
Wow. I feel like he's speaking for both you guys. And he said maybe girls can be nicer to you, Graham.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
He's speaking for both K brothers there.
Yeah, you got that right. But that's the way it goes, you know? Yeah. He definitely
I was curious how he likes the we've talked about this before. I don't know how much exactly he understands, but he understands the show and he understands that he's part of it, and yeah, it's great. I feel like he's excited about it.
He does get excited when he calls. He loves being the center of attention, and I put him on FaceTime so he can see them and they can see him, and everyone get cheers, and he gets this look in his face when he's excited or proud. He kind of like smiles and looks down.
It's great.
Yeah, it's very cute. But I definitely obviously cleared it with him before I do that kind of stuff. But
Yeah, it's great.
anyway, yeah, moving on. I as a little segue into our article, I will say that a couple weeks ago I performed on a cruise ship with a comedian who was diagnosed as an adult as having autism, and then he was like, "You definitely have it," to me, and and I do think that you can like look for it in anybody, and I think we're all on the spectrum in some way, and then it got me thinking again, because I've mentioned this before on the podcast, being like, should I get tested? How do I get tested? Whatever. There are some things in my past that would definitely help explain, and so it got me thinking about that. And another comedian who I had never met before, I was on a show with, he's an adult with on the spectrum, and he said that I probably have it too, and it was just 2 in a row, and I was like, huh. And I'm kind of, I don't know why I'm reticent to get tested. Maybe I'm worried that it's like why I've never gotten an IQ test. What if I'm dumb? You know what I mean? Like at least I can pretend I'm smart now. And not
At least
that
I
if
can
you have
pretend
autism you're
I'm
not smart. I'm
smart.
not saying that. I'm using it as an example of why I haven't done another thing. People with autism are very, very smart. I'm not.
Can be.
Can be. Yeah. So anyway, I just spoke to my therapist, and he was like, I don't think you have autism. I've never got that impression. So I don't know what
I
to
think
do.
you're a narcissist.
Yeah, well, I don't.
Joking. Joking. I'm joking.
Would I have diagnosed? It's you're not. I don't think you have autism. I think you're a psychopath.
Sociopath. Is what I was gonna go
Sociopath. No,
for,
you
but-
didn't say that.
Joking.
But yeah, no. So I'm kind. I don't know why I'm scared. Maybe I should just do it. I think I'm also a little lazy. I don't even know where to look, how to do it. But anyway, we found an article.
What would that change, you think? What do you think that change?
Part of me is like, what? Who cares? I'm friggin' 42. What's it
Yeah,
going to
you're-
change?
you're-
Nothing.
Yeah, you're very old. You're practically dying. I agree.
But what? Maybe there's coping mechanisms, or maybe this is okay. What does that mean?
Well, it's interesting that
You know?
that you would mention your responses, because our article this week, funnily enough, is 5 common responses to adult autism diagnosis. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Knowing what to expect can help autistic adults better manage the conversation. Gramo found this article in the Psychology Today. Gramo, last chance. You want to read this?
If you want me to, I
No.
will, Kirk.
I feel bad. Sharing an adult autism diagnosis is a very significant experience for many, yet autistic adults are sometimes met with responses which feel invalidating or upsetting. Understanding why people respond in invalidating ways can help autistic adults respond or even educate themselves. Finding a way to have your diagnosis recognized by others can be empowering and validating. When I was recently diagnosed, when I meet recently diagnosed autistic people, either those who have been formally diagnosed or those who have chosen to self-diagnose, they often ask, how should I share my diagnosis? Many autistic people feel validated by a diagnosis because they finally have an explanation for the difficulties they face throughout their lives. They're ready to move forward, which often includes sharing their news. That's why I would think I would lean towards. I mean, what's the harm? You find out, and then you're like, okay, well, that's why that makes sense why I do that. Anyway, doing so
Right.
not only allows them to seek out formal support if needed, but also allows them to explain clearly to family members and friends why they process things differently and the type of changes that they might want to know. The type of changes they might want to make now that they know they're autistic. Yet people are often worried about how others will respond and feel pressured to tell their friends and families about being autistic as soon as possible without a clear idea of what to expect and how to deal with people's responses. While family and friends are often supportive, some autistic people find that their loved ones refuse to believe that they're autistic. Others find that people close to them just aren't interested in their diagnosis. Dealing with the type of response that can be difficult and upsetting. Here's why. 5 common responses. Here we go. Number 1, cool. So, quote, cool. So, end quote. Many autistic people diagnosed in adulthood feel that their diagnosis is life-changing, and because this shared with their friends and family is deeply significant. But sometimes they don't get much of a reaction. When this happened to my clients, they often feel upset and invalidated. Some even start feeling that their loved ones has an ulterior motive for failing to acknowledge the significance of their diagnosis. While this of course may be true, it may also be the person on the receiving end of the news simply doesn't understand how important the diagnosis is, and they may simply see you as you and not feel that your diagnosis changes anything about the relationship with you. In that case, it's essential to explain how important your diagnosis is and that you may need to talk about it further to discuss how it impacts you. Starting with giving them the benefit of the doubt could help foster a more fruitful and understanding conversation. Number 2, You don't look autistic. Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, you get that one. I've heard that one a lot about my son when he was little, especially. Hearing this can feel soul destroying, particularly for someone who has put a lot of effort into camouflaging their autistic symptoms. Yet, this type of comment often stems from lack of knowledge about what autism is, and explaining what autism is. Explaining that what autism is a wide spectrum and that many people, quote unquote, camouflage their autistic traits, meaning they go to great lengths to hide their autistic symptoms or learn techniques to cope with social situations and cover their social discomfort, can help others challenge their existing, often incomplete knowledge. Number 3, you didn't do that before you knew you were autistic. You didn't do that before you knew you were autistic. Oh, okay. Sometimes people are diagnosed in adulthood are challenged about their behavior seeming quote unquote new autistic behavior. Yet it's often actually happening is that after the diagnosis, many autistics people begin to unmask, and in some other words, they stop engaging in some of the camouflaging behavior. This might mean that they're more open about their needs and engaging in repetitive behavior or avoiding situations where they struggle to cope. Okay, number 4. By the way, I'm skipping ahead in some of these little sections. If you want to read the whole article, it's in psychologytoday.com. Number 4, my brother slash friend slash colleague is autistic, and you're nothing like them. Once again, this can, although this can certainly make you feel invalidated, it often comes from a lack of knowledge. Autism is a spectrum, and if people know a family member, colleague, or friend who is autistic, it's natural that they might recognize your autistic traits as having much in common with others that they know. Educating them about the autism spectrum and the differences between levels 1, 2, and 3, including the fact that people with level 2 or 3 may have additional support needs and learning disabilities, can also help understand that autistic people may share certain traits while still presenting a very different reality. In addition to educating them about the differences, you can explain the similarities across the autism spectrum, including the need for routine, differences in social communications, and sensory processing issues. I would add, this is Kirk here, not the article, that like we always say, if you've met one person with autism, you've met one person with autism. So yeah. Number 5, you're high functioning, right? It's not real autism. Ooh. There's an assumption that having a level 1 autism, by the way, I don't recall having talked about these levels before, 1, 2, and 3, but I find it very helpful.
We haven't. The first I heard about it was this gentleman who was diagnosed recently as an adult told me about them. So I just found out about it like 2 weeks ago. He's like, I'm level 1. I guess, your brother's level 2, meaning Peter, and then your son would be level 3, I guess.
I might have a brother level 2 as well. Half joking. Yeah, my son's definitely 3.
Yeah.
There are assumptions about having level 1 autism that excludes you from having a real quote-unquote autism, which in turn is equated with autism that requires additional support. If you live an independent life and perhaps have a job, relationship, or children, surely you can't have quote-unquote real autism. But the term higher functioning is the term high functioning is primarily discredited by the autism community because it hides the often very severe struggles that people with level 1 autism, which is generally what's being referred to as high functioning, face. It can come across as judgmental for those who have level 2 or 3. If someone responds to your news this way, remind them that level 1 is an actual condition, and according to psychiatrists who deal with the criteria for neurological conditions or mental health issues, it might differ from 2 or 3, but it's certainly no less real. What matters most? Dealing with any of these responses listed above can be challenging, but the most important thing after a diagnosis is that you have the knowledge and validation regarding your autistic traits. To see a therapist if a therapist helped you get there, then find one today in Psychologist Today's Therapy Directory. You know what we say next, Grandma. What do you think?
Yeah, it's stuff that I could look out for, and the funny thing is well, not funny, but what's interesting to me is that the unmasking part. I was thinking like, is that helpful to unmask? Maybe you get to feel better, but the people around you then have to deal with it. So That's a different question. And also, yeah. And I'm just thinking about myself. Obviously, when you're listing off the things, it's like I'm like, if I found out I had autism, what would I unmask? Am I masking? What would I do? I don't think I would do anything. I don't think I'm hiding. I mean, I definitely do. Like, I think about how many times I look at someone's face when I'm talking to them. I'm like, what's normal? What's too much? And I try and like read. Okay, look away now. I don't know. Maybe I would just not do that anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Plus, some of the stuff, it's like, we were talking before the pod about one of our mutual friends has a lot of confidence, a couple of them.
Yeah.
And they don't think about masking anything. And so are they doing everything correctly? No, not even close. Are they masking anything? No, they are not. So, and they're not on the spectrum at all. I'm just saying confidence is it's very interesting, right? Because, yeah, sometimes you have a lot of confidence and you can kind of just plow through life and kind of doesn't matter. It's very interesting. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, Kirk, did we do it?
As always, I think we did it. As always, if you've got your comments and suggestions and for us, articles that you like to suggest or topics of conversation, we always love to hear from you. We have a Gmail account, oddtasticpodcast@gmail.com. You can also just email me directly at kirksmithcomedy@gmail.com. Guys, you do me a huge solid. I'm very close to monetizing my YouTube page. If you could add me on YouTube, it's Kirk Smith Comedy. Just run those videos in the background. It's hard to explain, but that would get me off ships, and that would make me very happy. Yeah, my social media is all Kirk Smith Comedy. Facebook as well. If you could add me on my Facebook fan account. Grandma, what's your socials? What's going on with you, buddy? What do you got coming up next?
What do I have coming up next? November 6th, I'll be doing my one-man show we just talked about at QED Theater in Queens, New York at 7 p.m. I'm also going to be at the Dallas Comedy Club November 17th and 18th. And I'm also going to be at the Comedy Fort in Fort Collins, Colorado, December 15th and 16th. Come buy tickets. Check me out. It'll be a lot of fun. So, yeah, come out, support if you are in Colorado or Dallas. Would love to see you. Come. I'll be selling stuff after the show, so you can come say hi, and let me know that you're an autastic. Yeah, I think that's it. Kirk, you got anything else?
That's it for me. We love you guys as always. Appreciate your support. Couldn't do without you guys. Have a great week. You can do it.